Excellent. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to BHH Live number 59. Take it away, on. So people log on. So who was first this week? Elliot Flynn. Hello, Elliot. Gary Taylor. Oh, hang on. Probably need a microphone to help, wouldn't it? All you're going to hear is that screeching over there otherwise. So, hello, Gary. Seen you later in the week. The sword winner. Going to get a photograph of that. Hi from Independent Tropical Merthyr from Andrew. Llewellyn Pren. That's Julian, who I saw on Tuesday. We mentioned that. Mark Austin. Hello. Alan Griffiths. Oh, it's great. See so many friendly names here. Hey, Lego's on. Not working tonight. Excellent. Hello, Suzanne Price. Blistering hot Vancouver. Well, it's not blistering hot here, I can tell you. It feels more like October than June. Eleanor Jones evening. Oh, everyone's logging on now. Loads of people. Great. And a special welcome to everyone. We're having a bit of Vivaldi? No. Tchaikovsky. Oh.
Stop.
Oh, I put him off now. Hey, sorry, I'll give you the name of the music again. Uh-oh, I'm in trouble now. Fiocco's Allegro. I think I fioccoed that one up. Boom, boom. And there goes my family-friendly rating for another week. Demonetize again, yeah. Right, Nigel James. Oh, by the way, regards monetizing for a Sunday evening. As you know, there's no adverts live, but I do put one up at the beginning for the playbacks. So it's usually about an hour and a half long. You get one ad at the beginning, one at the end. So it's not too bad. Clap, 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 clap. Who is it, Arnie? Yeah. Was it again? Fiocco. I said.
Be careful how you say it.
Be careful how you say it. Fiocco. Yeah, well, it's wonderful. Thank you very much. Right. Your son's the best. Wow. Thank you, Linda.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I'll try to let him know that. Okay, right. Now I'm going to do a special welcome because I always forget to do this at the beginning. All the regulars here. It's great to see people coming back week after week. It's so exciting. I'll show you my fancy new t-shirt. There's loads tonight. If you are new to the show, just to let you know, what we do is we go through the history that has been hidden. So a lot of this is not necessarily never known or newly discovered, although we do add on more knowledge and more research all the time. A lot of this, or most of it, used to be widely accepted. It was taught in the schools, it's in the textbooks, it's physical evidence, charters in cathedrals, churches, the whole lot. But over time, there's been British history in particular. It happens everywhere. Let's look at it that way. But in Britain, particularly, you can see that the big cut-off was when the Hanoverians came onto the throne of England in the early 1700s and decided this is getting a bit, scary here because there's revolutions and all sorts of things going on. And, royal families a bit later on, it wasn't that much later that the French were all getting their heads chopped off and then the Russians are killed. And the best way to disable... that noise means...
The camera's frozen already.
Don't put the camera in this one. Don't use that slot there. Hang on a second. Camera will come back to life in a second. It might not, but hopefully you can still hear me anyway. Can you still hear me, Arnie?
Yeah.
Please don't bang the table. Everything goes crazy.
Testing the lag.
Testing the lag. Oh, that's what it was.
3 second
Testing the lag. Yes, I know I have had a haircut. Thank you for ever mentioned that. And yes, I did get my money's worth. I didn't miss any bits. No, Angie cut this, so thank you very much. Oh, Benny Babbles is great. It's been a while. Good to see you back, Benny. Good to see you, Chris, Deborah Thomas. Hello. Evening, Ross, Graham and Tara. Hello, Graham and Tara. And Mr. President, hang on some chat. Anyway, you would clap, clap, clap. Right, so this history used to be taught in schools. And I got here, this is just a little introduction. What I thought, suddenly struck me the other day, I don't know why, one of those strange things, that a good example I thought to open the show with is how you can see where this history was widely accepted. For example, the British and Irish, the Scots, Welsh, Irish, and most English who think they're Anglo-Saxon, but they're not. They were told a story that they're Anglo-Saxon. The Welsh, the Scots, and the Irish were told that they are just Celts. and everyone just wandered over in primitive dribs and drabs from Europe, and they were barbarians. It goes completely against the evidence and what used to be accepted. The evidence is that about 1600 BC, there was a massive influx of new technology, particularly metalworking, and new things that we hadn't seen here before. Same happened about 500 BC, and both of them tie in, with the British records of who the British are. They come from Troy, and their great civilizations, laws and buildings and everything else. So, what I thought then struck me the other day, I will go on to tonight's running this because it's packed, which is why I'm probably talking way too fast. Was have a look. One example One example are the plays of Shakespeare. Hang on, I'm missing it. Oh yeah, phew, I thought I was missing the crucial page. So if you look, so you got just a list of Shakespeare's historical plays. In fact, I think it's all the plays in the end. Angie's very thorough. And if you look at historical plays, it's worth mentioning, because you've got the medieval ones, which you're probably aware of, Henry IV, V, VI, all those kind of things, and Henry VIII. And then what you notice, interesting, I think, if you go to the more ancient ones, you will see big clues here as to what British history really is, or was, before the whole thing got rewritten, starting in the 1700s, and then in the 1800s, particularly 1840s and 50s, when the Victorian Anglo-Saxon master race message was going on and they were conquering the world. Then you got Gibbons rewriting the history of Rome to make it into this massive empire that paralleled the English Empire, with a central control and superior sophistication, all that kind of stuff, technology and invincible armies. And also, you had Gibbs? Wrong again. No, we just did Gibbons. Stubbs, got his books there, Bishop Stubbs and Guest. These are all religious extremists who were pushing this Victorian idea that everyone who wasn't English was somehow inferior, particularly Welsh, Scots and Irish, because it suited this agenda. And they weren't being deceptive as far as they're concerned. They genuinely believed this stuff. But what struck me, in history, we always say, well, if you look, you got plays like Troilus and Cressida set in ancient Troy, because that's where they thought people were. And it also struck me then, if you look at where the plays are, only a few minutes on Shakespeare, you got Titus Andronicus, great film with Anthony Hopkins, set in Rome. It's great when you discuss Shakespeare according to who did the best films. It's a sad indictment on me and the world, really, isn't it? So there we are. But anyway, it is good. I really like the Mel Gibson one as well. I think it's Hamlet, wasn't it? Romeo and Juliet, Leo DiCaprio. I'm broadening the appeal of the channel, okay? So then you got Romeo and Juliet. Again, it's Italy, it's Roman history. Well, it's Roman history, but anyway. Julius Caesar, ancient Rome. Then you got, going to the ancient stuff, King Lear, which is, of course, a Welsh or British king. And then you got things like Macbeth, which again is ancient British history. And what's really noticeable is the absence, I found, of Greek plays. Because one of the obsessions that the Victorian historians had was that Britain doesn't have any history. If you delete all the histories in the history books, you've got to fill it with something. So what they do is create this reverence and this obsession with Roman and Greek history, and said, Greek's the father's wrong word, birthplace of civilization, birthplace of democracy, all the history, Greek philosophy, and start to wonder more and more and more how much of that is actually correct. And the Russian historians blow holes in all of it, and I think you can do that from this point of view. So I do a little this has been the most highbrow quiz question ever. There seems to be two. Oh, I beg your pardon. There are two Shakespeare plays that involve or set in Greece. So we are. Let's see how clever everyone is. I didn't realise. But the other one, which is another one which is important, is Cymbeline. Ties into British history very deeply. And all these stories, a lot of it's supposed to have been faked in the 1800s and onwards, and it's all a made-up nonsense history by nationalists. And yet Shakespeare writing plays about parts of it. But anyway, that's a slight detour. It's a big detour on it at the end. Sorry about that. All right, now there's so much in tonight's show. I have to do a special thank you to Mandy McCourt, who's been done some amazing research, and we're going to do a whole special this week on Caermead or Caermead. If you remember, Caermead is the the craziest archaeological site in the world. It must be, because what you have is there was their records that a British king had a palace built in the Roman style, but in the 1880s, everyone was like, everything's Roman, everything's Roman, everything's Roman. Not that that's changed much, mind you. And therefore, they dig this palace. All right, gonna have a dig, and everyone's very excited, right? Big dig. I mean, all the details that dig. We found walls. This is great. We found some pots and artifacts. This is fantastic. And then, of course, they dig down to the mosaic floor, and it's British style. There's nothing Roman about it. Everything about it's British. So people turn up in suits. I just can't get my head around this, and just filled it all in. I showed some of this last week, and you'll also find that they just filled it in. So it's reopened in the 1940s. This is what Mandy's been doing. 1940s, 1970s, and every time they fill it back in. And we've done a site visit, and someone who was working with Wilson and Blackett, that's Dave. I won't give his full name out just yet. Thank you, Dave. Got in touch with me and reached out and said, yes, we were in the right field, the right area when we did our video about hang on, I'm mixing two up now. Caermelin, that is. Sorry, stick with Caermead first, Ross. And we're going to go back, and with all the information, we're going to show where the palace was and everything. And that's very interesting. Same with Caermelin. Because if you saw earlier in the week, I put up a week or two ago, put up a video, so funny, right, about Caermelin. If you don't know the story, Wilson and Blackett say Caermelin is the origins for the term Camelot, because Merlin became Merlot when the Normans took the story back. So Caermelin became Caermelot, and then the OT ending became Camelot, Camelot. And you got Kibir, which is their mutually coming together place, which would seem to be the home of the Round Table. Oh, and some to also ask for the map of Kibor, which is now on the website. It is available. Sorry for not getting back to you. I did mean to. It wasn't posted, so we fixed all that, and I will reply. Man, a lot of emails, which is fantastic. The thing is, right, it's not junk. Everyone's sending amazing emails with tons of information. So what I need people to do when they're doing this, like has happened the last couple of weeks, someone sent a presentation in about Joseph Arimathea being buried up in Gwynedd, and I ran the whole presentation on the show. Love to do that. Very happy to do it, okay? And he sent me another follow-up with more information about the specific building. No time for that tonight. I'll try and get back to it next week. Also, thank you to Julian, who took me up to St. Kenneth Common. And I'm hoping in the next week or two to go up with Dixie and Darren. Those guys are the experts on that, and we need them to tell us what's going on. All right, so, right, some of the things I've got tonight. I've got here, I thought this would be a good one to do every week. I am going to read a little bit more. Another topics I've got from Wilson and Blackett notes, all right, hope you can see that. Which they've asked me to make into books, which I'm going to do. And they will be out. They've got stacks to do. So, I just want to say, oh yeah, I got sent a present by Victor. Victor von Orton sent me these. We have a picture done. He's not a man of subtlety, is Victor. Hang on, let's check on the camera. There's a bit of a lag. There we are. Oh, hang on, move this out the way. There's the website. If you go there, the link takes you back to cameraglyphics.com, but there you go. I am hoping and begging for more content from Barham about his book, which is this one, St. Patrick Identified, okay? It's a great book. If you haven't ordered one already, please do. You'll enjoy the book, and it keeps me and Baron happy. And the good news here, if you didn't see the video during the week, and a whiz through this kind of news updates, it's back. This is the proof copy. Brilliant. When I put the video up in the week, it kind of looked a bit of a bluier, darker green. Yeah, it looks a bit better tonight. The lighting's better. It is that sort of lime green you saw on screen before. Which I think is on. I don't know. Might be that button. I'm not sure. Better not mess about with it. Right. Yeah, it was the right button. There we go. It's weird with this lag. Now, I'll go through all again now. I put a video up and a review during the week. So get your orders in. This is fine. There was a couple of tiny tweaks. And there's one more I'd like to have been able to make, which we're going to come on to in a minute, with Marchelle Abrahams. We're going to be talking about. She's got her new channel I want to show you. And a couple of other things, particularly about, and this sounds very highbrow tonight. We've had Shakespeare, now we're going to have Strabo, who was a Roman historian. And if you get one of the most popular quotes we have is when he describes ancient British, prehistoric London, mentions it, various other books mention it, is that Strabo described the British not dressed as a Scythian in furs, but in proper clothes and could speak Greek and all this. Problem is, I haven't been able to find the Strabo quote apart from references to it, and Marchelle has solved that one. We think. So let's have a look at this one. What's this? I don't want any heathen comments, followers tonight. Oh my goodness! I'll buy Robert's book. Oh yeah, Robert's book as well. I'm gonna Robert's. I've got some commission coming to you. That's one out yet. Very quick plug. Architecture Power. Robert Shaw. Absolutely fantastic book. Wonderfully, powerfully written. He's now working with Lego on a book about King Arthur, which I'm excited about. And that's got all about, how the Fire London was set up and the plague was set up and how there's this constant power struggle going on. And it goes all the way back from ancient Egypt to modern times. So that's really cool as well. Right, I'm going around in circles. You're nice. Yes, so we're going back to Marchelle's bit. And I got a few other things. So what I think we're best going to do now, let's get on to some fun stuff. Yeah, right. Now, if I get all the buttons right now. Oh. There's a very uninspiring shot. Yeah, it's worked though. Great. Last week, or maybe 2 weeks ago, time is flying by, okay? I did that wonderful chat with Steve Willits. And it's going to be more of those videos going up. Now, good news is I have had some people volunteer to help with videos. One, Paul, who edited my book as well. He's great. And I've given him a whole load of stuff. So I don't know when he'll get a chance. But hopefully he'll speed up the videos. Because Steve's another series of videos. And this is becoming bigger and bigger. And this great thing is, like, Marchelle started a YouTube channel. I'm going to show you Ellis's channel. This needs to be a network, all right? As much as I love to be in the middle of it all, this needs to be more people doing more things. Send through presentations, send stuff. Anyway, last week I spoke to Steve, and I mentioned, what I meant to show at the end of it was there's a particular area that needs saving. Hang on, I'm just going to do this quickly. After a very short recap, what you'll find if you watch it is that bizarrely, sort of Glamorgan Gwent sort of border area, the place names around there map out the ancient Babylonian stories. It's just freaky. And Steve shows how you've got one place is that if you've got the body of Mamluk, which I always say wrong, you've got the place where his hand is called the hand, where his shoulder is called the shoulder, where he's holding his thing is called the thing he's holding. You've got his feet, you've got his everything is all mapped out. And the rivers draw the outline of the body. It's amazing. And then I got another another email from someone in the week. The hill I was standing on above the valley of Derry. And this is from Tog Williams. So thank you, Tog. Brilliant. Ian Tog Williams. I don't have the Welsh in front of me, but that actually means backbone. So you already had all the body bits. The one bit missing in a way was the back. And that is the name for the hill I was standing on. So it gets even more powerful story. Now, what I didn't get onto, and it's going to be on a video during the week, is that if you listen closely, the key part at the end of the story was that he had this what's called the Stones of Destiny. And the story is that whoever controls or owns the Stones of Destiny has godlike powers to rule the world. So it's very much like the Spear of Destiny and these other incredibly powerful ancient items, artifacts. I'm not sure what the correct word is. And these Stones of Destiny are there. Okay, they're up in... well, Steve thinks he's found them, basically. So this site could not be more important. Okay, it could go back thousands of years. It could predate the Babylonian history, or they brought everything here with them if they came that way. As you know, my personal theory, hypothesis is that I'm not the only person to say it, I shouldn't think, but is that the British were here, or some people were here for a long time, maybe thousands of years, and then due to a catastrophe, or I think most likely is the poles shifting, which made northwest Europe and Britain in particular into a frozen wasteland, uninhabitable, maybe a couple of people wandering around. If you think about sort of depths of Alaska, or the most northerly parts of Siberia, that kind of weather would have been very, very difficult. And then it migrated south to, say, Assyria, and then where the weather had been very pleasant then, because it wouldn't have been as hot now as it is now. And then at some point, then the ice regressed, because this idea of the whole planet ice age snowball is just nonsense. If you look at the physics, it's just ridiculous. Velikovsky was writing about this in the 1950s, 70, 80 years ago. So they would be able to return, and this would be the sacred grounds they'd return to. And one of the massive clues to this is held in all. This is why it all ties together. Hugh Evans' wonderful new book. Sorry, a couple of these send out to people. The Origins of the Zodiac, or the Original Zodiac, or the Origin of the Zodiac. There we go. Because you can see there that the way the old zodiacs are built matches the landscape of North Wales. It's crazy, it's bonkers, but it does. And in southeast Wales, you can see the Babylonian stories marked out in their mythology. Who knows what's a myth anymore? But when I say mythology, everyone knows what I mean. Okay, so come on to that. Oh yeah, by the way, on this week, the unpublished Wilson and Blackett, can talk a little bit more about the Welsh going to America, because that's been. I put a few videos up with Lee Pennington. Loads of people have watched. Loads of controversy. Loads of incoming fire. And I've got some long discussions to go up showing evidence and coins and all sorts of stuff. So a lot more on the Welsh America stuff. So it's just so much going on. It's bizarre, bonkers. Right, anyway, so here I want to say there's a place that in the midst. So this is wonderful. Look at this wonderful scenery as well. Oh, hang on. Except you can't see it. If I press the button, yeah, now you can see this wonderful, wonderful scenery. So if you watch the video and you get a chance, am I going to get a mouse up here? Yeah, I've got a little cursor there, hand. Can you see that? Yes, you can, just about. So the idea is down towards there, over sort of behind Steve, if you like, is down towards Skirrid and Sugarloaf and I can't even think of the Welsh now, that's weird. Nidia, anyway, there where the snake place is, down there. And Llangynneda, sorry, that's it. And then coming down here, you've got all the landmarks which mark out the body. So it's actually upside down, if you like. The head would be to the right off the screen, and the feet are down there. So it's kind of upside down. And this hill we're sitting on, apparently, is now the backbone. It just gets crazier and crazier. Now, one of the places in there, which I'll show on a map in a second, is Mamlehad. Which I don't say it like the locals do, really. Mamlehad. Which Steve will explain the meaning of it, and that is the absolute. If this theory is correct, and this landscape represents the original home or site of these ancient stories, it's only a 2-minute video. It's crucial, couldn't be more important for ancient historical purposes. And yet there's a wind farm planned on that hill across the far side, and the mound, which Steve thinks might be very sacred, is under threat. So listen to what Steve has to say about this. Oh, hang on. Watch your ears a second, because I know when I press play...
Ear warning.
Ear warning, hang on. Oh, no, where's the volume? I can't see volume on here, see, that's the trouble. I'm very sorry if this blasts your ears. I'm going to try and turn it down.
I go past Marmalade today. There's a set of factories on the lane before you go up.
Sorry, folks.
I go past Marmalade or Marmalade every day. There's a set of factories on the lane before you go up to the church, and there's another set of factories which have been demolished just off the dual carriageway. Now they've recently cut down a load of trees, and now the trees are down. What you can see
the lay of the land, don't you?
A massive mound. But I don't know if when they cleared the land for the factories, did they pile the earth there? Or is it an old mound? Now I've looked on everything map I can think of and there's nothing clear. I just wonder if anybody knew anything.
Alright, we can ask, can't we?
Right.
What's your theories about the name Marmalade then?
Well, possibly mother of the human race.
Correct.
Mom, mother.
Correct. I'd go. It is. I translated that a long while ago, and it was. I'll check with the old dictionaries, but it was something like. Ancient Earth Mother.
Yeah.
It was something very similar to that.
Yeah.
But it was literally, the words were very profound and distinct. It was almost like sort of progenital motheress.
Yeah.
You know, it was that profound a meaning in the very old dictionary. So I'm so glad that you found that, because that's that.
Because it's only a little.
Very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's only a little village there. But if that mound was built centuries ago, or millennia ago, then it could be important. But it could also be that they cleared the land to build the factories and just mounded the earth up. Mm. But it's finding out if it was because of the factories. Then if it is, then it doesn't matter if they flatten it, because I think they're going to be building on there. It looks like they're surveying on there now. After they, but if they thinking, well, we're going to clear this earthen mound and it's something important. But I just don't.
We need to bring it to people's attention quickly, don't we, if it's important, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it could just be where they clear the land, because there are factories built there, and to build those factories they would have had to flatten the land. They could have just backed the earth up.
Just dumped it in there, yeah.
But I haven't found a way of finding out, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, let's stick a map up and see what we can find. Okay, so there we go. So as you can see, this on a pride side here right now, Marduk. I was going to read some of the comments here. Oh yeah, someone in the Marshall said there, on the maps, Roke's map of 1746 gives the old name of Clapham High Street as Babylon. Tell me why. Yeah, we got loads of this ancient stuff is coming up now. Suzanne Price, it's all about the ancient origins of the zodiac, is brilliant. There we are, Hugh's work, I'd agree with that. It's mind blowing. Okay. Marduk was a planet buster class mecha abode of lightning. Almost same etymology as pyramid. That's very interesting. I can't see a name on that one. Yeah. If you looked at last week, the names all seem to translate using Old Welsh, which is bizarre in itself. So, kept their beer cold. Maybe a sleeping goddess. Yes. So as to what these the tablet, you enjoy that scenery there a second. It was this breathtaking up there. Thank you. We've been blessed with some good sunny weather this month, although it seems to finish today. It actually felt like summer for a few days. All the headlines like, oh, it's a heat wave. No, it was nice. It was summer, okay? Anyone who ever sat exams in schools in the June knows what June feels like. It's hot. Anyway, I'm digressing. So, what we need to do is this place Mamlihad. Oh, God, I say it wrong again. Mamhilad, all right? Mamhilad. If you see that there. Mamhilad. If you can think of a way of us finding out. Steve has tried some of the ancient maps. I know he's tried the 1880s. I think he's tried that. So if you look on tithe maps, any old maps that could possibly show a mound in Mamhilad. It's very, very important. Well, it could be, as Steve said in there. You know, it might not be important. It might just be a stuff piled up from when they built their. I thought I had the. Oh, I know I got it on. When it was loads of comments coming in, and I'm trying to keep up with all those. Here we go. Just give you an idea where it is. Dunk. I love the way Google Earth does this. So I've typed it in up there, behind my head, so you can't see it. And it just says Mamlihad, alright? And look at this. I love the way there's this zoom in. Wow. Mamhilad. Alright, so we're in this kind of area here. They say Mamhilad Pontypool for some reason. So that's the nearest town, I guess. Oh, there's Pontypool, yeah. Just give you an idea where it is. So if anyone can... all these places up here then. It says Blaenavon. We're playing rugby next week or the week after, I think. Then we go up Llanelli, doesn't mean what you think it does. All these places, their names are all really ancient, going back to Babylon. There you go. Mind-blowing stuff. I'm going to do more of that soon, okay? Please stay in touch. I'd say no one's more surprised than me that this has become such a big part of what we're doing. Now, the next thing I've got here, I'm not going to do tonight. I'm just going to talk... Oh, Mam Hillad. Get it right, Ross. What's wrong with you? Moving heavy stones, all right? Remind me at the end. If we got time, I'm going to come back to this this video by this guy. Has anyone heard of the Sticks and Stones guy? Because this is one... There is a reason for me mentioning. I have to talk something about it. It's... I haven't got time to watch the video. I'll put the link in the description, as all the YouTubers say. It's this idea that there was an ancient technology, very, very ancient, thousands of years ago, that could move stones, and it was impossible in more recent times. Well, there's this guy in America, Arizona or somewhere, and he's an old man, ex-engineer, and on his own, just using sticks and stones and no machinery, he's moving massive stones, and pretty quickly, considering it's a manpower of one old bloke. It's phenomenal. You know, big 80-ton ones. He's put them vertically in the ground to make his own henges. He's done the whole standing stones, the lot. Another thing which frustrates me, and we'll do a proper presentation on this, is that when you look at the Romans, who are not that much less ancient, they didn't have any machinery as such. They had no steam power or electricity or petrol engines. They stole basically the obelisks from Egypt, and they took them back to Rome and stood them up. And no one bats an eyelid about that. It's... Oh, hang on. Would help for a screen shared, wouldn't it? Oh, what's on my nose tonight? Itchy. Doesn't that mean... I don't know. Someone's thinking of you, saying, you have a fight. I don't know. What does it mean? Commit to money? What's itchy nose mean? I can't remember. Moving heavy stones. So there's a Sticks and Stones guy. I'm going to cover this very briefly. I want to put some videos up about it. The reason I mention it is to do with Stonehenge, okay? Like, if the Romans could move stuff, this guy in America can move it by his own. Why do people think it's so difficult to move stones? And you get all these ideas about, you know, aliens and ancient superpowers and energy weapons and all sorts of stuff, which maybe they had those. I'm not closing my mind to them. My point is they're not a requisite. They're not something you have to have in order to move large stones. It is doable, and seems to be all over the world. People were doing this. And the reason I mention it is because I got myself into a little bit of deep water with people in our own group. Disagreeing's fine, all right? Disagreeing with Wilson Blackett is fine. Disagreeing with me is fine. Disagreeing with each other is fine. The difference in our group is that none of us dig our heels in, and we're not rude to each other. And if someone's got a different idea, you listen, you take it in, you think about it, and then that's how we progress. It's called, you know, like civilized adults used to do. One of my mates, John Fallon, if ever you're watching this, I doubt he does it, because we have disagreed on almost everything. We've been mates for like 20, 30 years, wherever it is, and we don't really agree on anything. I can't, very little. One thing we do agree is that it's okay to have your own opinions. And when we see each other, we have a few pints, and we debate. We have a good laugh and give our different points of view on everything. So don't be afraid to disagree. But let's not fall into this modern, a zeitgeist, an ethos, an atmosphere, something pervading in the air that someone doesn't agree with you, you have to dislike them and hate each other. It's so wrong to, says me, accept other people's points of view. I think the point of view that's saying it's not reasonable to disagree with people is incorrect. But apart from that, hold whatever view you like. But this is the thing. As come back to me in a second. The name as our friend from the last couple of weeks who put up the thing about alternative view to Joseph Arimathea. He backed it up. He gave references. He gave pictures. Put a presentation together. It's a good argument. I don't think I do agree, actually. I think there's a few things I might not go with all the conclusions, but perfectly valid argument he's put forward, and I presented it as best I can. And that's the way you have to do it. I was talking about this subject the other day with Lee Pennington. I was talking with Lee. He might be one of the videos I'm going to put up. and we talked about this subject, and he was saying there that one of the things him and his mate used to do, because they were both lecturers and professors and going around doing lots of public speaking engagements, they'd have this subject that they had two different views on, or they went to the next venue, they'd swap, and they'd argue the opposite sides, and then they'd swap back, and you know, that's the attitude you want, okay? It ain't personal, okay? I know there, Al Pacino in Godfather, everything's personal. So anyway, the reason I got to a bit of a couple of people weren't very happy about it, because looking through Wilson and Blackett's notes, and this ties in with the comet, and I'm going to try and do this next week as a big subject. So, you know, the comet's very popular, and it's one of the things they're saying is looking at Halley. We know him as Halley these days. Halley's comet. Halley apparently is the correct pronunciation. If you go back to Halley, he was doing tons of stuff back in the day, and the thing he's most famous for, of course, is the comet coming around on a cycle of 70 odd years. Well, Wilson Blackett doing, if you look back to the time of the comet that hit Britain, so 562, around about that kind of time, that was on a cycle. It didn't smash in and the whole comet's gone. They're saying it's in a, that would have been the time where it finally came very close, and it could well have been destructive strikes in steps about 70 years previously as well, and other plagues and disasters. It's fascinating. It's a whole new angle on the comet I don't think anyone else has considered. So his argument is then, and this is what the Welsh records say as well, this is why they moved Stonehenge. They moved it because it is crucial to observe this comet, and they had to move it to that spot. But that was not until 480s, something like that, 470s, 480s, AD, not BC, AD. So Stonehenge has been there not even 1,500 years, well, about 1,500 years. So that one is why I want to bring in this whole idea that moving stones is not that difficult, and we need to open up our ideas that it's some sort of mystery force. So that's another one. I'm just going to throw that in there and come back to it. I'd love to see comments on that. Any clues as to what time of year the comet came? What a brilliant question. I don't think I've read anything on that. That is an excellent question. Does any astronomers out there know? Do comets come at particular times of year? I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know on that one. What have we got here now? How remarkable they got within half a degree of being correct. But assuming they aligned it correctly, what has happened since to move the alignment off slightly? That's David Church. I assume he means Stonehenge there. Yeah, well, I think they have quite a few things to be moved around. I think the Victorians actually got some mechanical diggers and shoved them about, but there we go. Anyway, so Greg Taylor, I'm advising you to take everything into consideration, i.e. do your own homework. You may have something to revise your position to move ahead. Yep, I have to revise my position on almost everything. I used to be a bit of a guru on, that's the wrong word, shouldn't call yourself anything. Self-flattery is no recommendation, but pretty good on conventional history, winning all the quizzes and that kind of stuff. So when you spend decades learning conventional history, you become really good. And you have to turn around and say, actually, a lot of that is not right. A lot of that is, I don't know. Anyway, word propaganda gets overused, doesn't it? So I'm doing lots of really, really ancient, weird stuff. And sorry, I don't think it is, but some people do think that. We will be getting on to the Welsh migration soon. And I've got the thing with, I'm going to do another interview with Ellis. If you haven't seen Ellis's work, this I've already put in the description. Brilliant. And what is a dragon line, and what he's doing? So what he's looking at is, and it might sound like nonsense, it might sound like airy-fairy stuff, but then you can find physical manifestations of this, like dowsing rods, the energies. There is something there, okay? And this man, Ellis, has been doing this for at least a dozen years, following it, monitoring it, seeing where it goes. And the remarkable thing is, if you follow the roots of the dragon lines, well, I'm not saying all, I haven't checked them, but vast majority, all the famous ones I can think of the religious sites, sit on it. Okay? And this is, West Wales, an incredibly important place for energy and spirit and early Christianity. I would also propose, another one to discuss, God, these channels don't have any content. We have so much content, it could be 10 hours a week at least. The foundation of the Templars and the Rosicrucians, and the Templars. Yeah, I would even go so far as to say the Masons might even have started in West Wales. So why is everything? You claim everything. Well, logically, things do start together. You know, if you're looking at, say, the Renaissance, and Florence was home of some great artists, and they're producing great work, and they were the bankers and whatever were throwing money at it, you would expect to find loads and loads of people in that field congregating there because that was the place to go for that particular thing. Well, if you've got a place like West Wales, if we can show that that is where Jesus is buried, that is where the Holy Cross is, that's where these various other religious sites are, then if you are going to produce an order of guardian knights like the Templars or something like that, where are you going to put them? Where are you going to start from? You're going to start where the things you need to protect are and where the main religious centres are. And if you go back to, 300s, Bob Morgan's the expert on this, you'll find in this areas like Lampeter, which now is a sort of sleepy little backwater, they were having international synods where bishops are coming from all over the world to discuss Christian issues. And some of these meetings and councils and synods were before Christianity became the official religion of Rome. So it's very ancient, very important, and it might be a bit of a backwater now. You can't always think of it like that, okay? So we have to, another one we're going to have to come back to because I'm running out of time and I've got to cover stuff. Right, where's Marcel? There's someone who haven't seen our channel. Marcel was staying around the corner for a while. 6 months in the end. I was just come for a few weeks. Wintered out with us. I got my parents' place has been empty, obviously. And it all worked out brilliantly. And I loved having Marcel around the corner so we could discuss things and to help him proof the books. So what I had to do is drop him off around the corner and interviews. And now she's back in Scotland, which is 500 miles away, so it's very difficult. But the big news, someone putting their money where their mouth is, Marcel has started her own YouTube channel. Again, it's in the description. So go along. I know loads of people love Marcel's videos. Hundreds and hundreds watched the interviews I did with her. And so the channel's just started, a week it's been going. So let's boost up those numbers, watch the videos, they're great. The first one Marcel's done was in answer to request on one of the Britain's Hidden Histories, which is what's the origin of a Troy ounce, what is it, all that kind of stuff. Like I said, the link's in the description thing. And you can have a look. How long is this one? 5 minutes, so it's a short one. Because Marcel's got just so much stuff to watch. Brilliant. And I'm also hoping, we'll carry on chatting and all that kind of stuff. So as I say to people, we're not in competition with each other, people doing research. It's great. We've got to redo the whole syllabus, if you like. This massive, massive undertaking. It's going to need numbers. It's going to need lots of channels. Great for me. I've now got a channel I can watch. And if I was trying to do a program which was, and like dare I say BBC, but you know what I mean? If I was a channel that was on 15 hours a day, and you could only watch one channel, and someone else had a channel 15 hours a day, and we were both doing 105 hours a week, that'll be competition. When people are putting up a few hours a week, it's not competition. It's the opposite. It's mutually beneficial. So hang on. Is this going to blast your eardrums? I better put the volume down. Hang on. Hang on. Oh, yeah. That wasn't... Oh, of course, this is just a screenshot. I have got it. I have got it open in my browser. Anyway, I'm not going to tell you what to try out. Somewhere else is on the channel. You can go there and have a look yourself, all right? Because new videos are going up all the time. Or will be. Now, the other thing, I've been teasing people a bit now with this, is the famous quote from Strabo. Now, if you're not aware, this is, that's my rather ugly cover I put on there. I'll show you the original book. Inside, I do this. Just use lining paper, it's quite cheap. And I can see the titles much easier on my shelves. Just make a little cover for them, it's not difficult. Because there's the original book cover from 1914, I think, or 1908. It's round about there. So you put that on your bookshelf, and you're hardly going to be able to read the cover. When I'm looking across, wondering where my books are, I can't see it. Whereas now you can see it, you see? Like you can on your camera. And I try and do this to all my books, and it also protects them, because all my books are very old. So I recommend that approach. And it's got there, you see the outline as on the original cover. Now, one of the things E.O. Gordon quotes in here is one of our favourite quotes that we use in Britain's Hidden History a lot. Adrian Gilbert has used this quote in his book, Holy Kingdom. Great book, highly recommend it. Not one we sell, but you can usually get it fairly cheaply on eBay or something because it's went to a mainstream publisher. All about the religious stuff, covers a lot of the ground at where Jesus is buried, except doesn't go into the really controversial areas, which is what that book does. Mr. Gilbert steered slightly clear, but he's a fabulous writer, okay? It gives you a really good background. And one of the quotes mentioned in there, and loads of other books, is this idea, Strabo describes Britain, British people, not as Scythian, wearing furs, but, dressed beautifully, and he can speak Greek and blah, 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 okay? Alan Wilson has also quoted this, but he quotes prehistoric London as the source. Oh, if you can hear that noise in the background, it started raining now. There we go. Yeah, started chucking it down. Didn't expect that. So I've done a similar thing. I'm hoping I can still change it because the proofs might be in the printer already and I can't do it. So what I've done is quote E.O. Gordon as quoting Strabo, because the problem always is we can't find the original Strabo quote. Whether Strabo's been changed over time or bits have been deleted. But even trying to look at old sources, it's very hard to find this quote. So where does the quote come from? So Marcel's been on the case because she asked me a similar thing about a certain Caesar quote, which we are still trying to find. If you want to help, one of the things mentioned in this sort of, I hate the term alternative. Authentic is a better word. When you're looking at the history that used to be taught and is no longer taught, whatever you call that, authentic history. There's a mention in there. Wilson and Blackett mentioned it as well. Julius Caesar described the British alphabet as similar to the Greek alphabet. Supposed to be in Casus Bellius, where is the Gallic Wars, sorry. Excuse my Latin, it's lousy. The Gallic Wars by Caesar, I've got a copy here, can't find it. Maybe it's in original copies or much older copies. But that's one we need to find. So any clever researchers out there, have a look for that one. But, so what we can do about this Strabo quote, because I'll tell you this now. Every quote I have searched for Wilson and Blackett does show up eventually. Alan Wilson particularly has got like a computer brain. He remembers the quotes. He remembers the details. He doesn't really see this massive imperative of putting all these references down because he just knows them. And everyone should know them. It's like writing a sentence and explaining what the long words are with dictionary entries, it's that kind of level. So what I'm trying to do is more the donkey work with the help of the group, like Marcel and Patricia Gilchrist in Canada, fantastic work on researching references and stuff, which is why this one, where Jesus is buried, we've got 7 pages of index and 2 pages of bibliography and footnotes throughout. Not going to do that with all the other books, though, just to warn you in advance. It's going to take too long. Notes like these are going to go straight out as they are. We'll add the notes later as a second edition or something. So, the brilliant thing was... Hang on. Oh, no. Where's my typed notes? Where's the thing typed out on? No, it's a letter from Marcel. Uh-oh. This is going to test my memory. I always say use your memory as much as you can, okay? No, I've got it. It's underneath all the Shakespeare books. Right, excuse me. I'm going to read some of this now from Dear Marcel, which doesn't mind. Please, by the way, when you send me information, stuff like that, I always try and reply and say, can I use this in Sunday's show, or is it okay? People always say yes. Has there been anything those? Some people might say, I want to do more work on it before you share it, things like that. But generally, people are okay. I do always try and ask. I think Marcel sent this with the intention of going it up, but rather than put... Anyway. Right, so... The curious thing is, Marcel's found older books, such as From Round Towers of Ireland by Henry O'Brien, published 1898. And here's a quote. Hear what Strabo says of Abaris, whom Hectus and others mention, as having been sent by his fraternity from the island of the Hyperboreans, which is Britain, probably, or somewhere up north, to Delos in Greece, in the capacity of a sacred ambassador, where he was equally admired for his knowledge, politeness, justice, and integrity. He came, says Strabo, to Athens, and then the quote, not clad in skins like a Scythian, but with blah, blah, blah. 1898, bizarre and amazingly, he cites Strabo as well. but doesn't give the exact reference of where in Strabo it is, which makes it very difficult to find, okay? Maybe it's a book that's gone missing, or it seems to have been in common usage 100-odd years ago. Right, so we've got another one now. 1919 book, Archaic England by Harold Bailey. Sorry I haven't put all these on slides for you. They will go on slides before I send them out. I'll come on to that about the presentation at the end. So a traveller in 1845 describes the Berbers, or Turiaks, as very white, always clothed and wearing pantaloons like Europeans. The word pantaloon comes from Venice, where the patron saint is Saint Pantaleon, or Pantaleone, but the British for pantaloons is breeks or breeches. It was a distinction of the British to wear breeks. And if you've walked around our fields with all the stinging nettles and little midges biting your ankles, you know why we wear breeches and not skirts. That's my view on it. And when circa 500 BC, here we go again, celebrated Arbaris visited Athens, his hosts were evidently impressed by his attire. He came not clad in skins like a Scythian, but with a bow in his hand, a quiver on his shoulders, a plaid wrapped around his body, etc., okay? Again, he does but this is where Marcel's been clever. He does not cite Strabo as the source. However, he does track some similarities. There's some more details on there. But what Marcel has done then is say he couldn't track it down to Diodorus Siculus either, and he's gone through all the library books and all this kind of thing. But all is not lost, and this is exciting news. I know it sounds very academic, but things like this give people an easy attack on what we're proposing. You can have 1,000 holes in the mainstream story, doesn't matter, you know, they're just 1,000 holes, you have to live with them. One tiny crack in what we put forward, you get attacked and attacked and attacked, and that's all they will talk about. Trust me, it happens a lot. I'm sure if anyone's gone on to discuss these things on, say, Facebook or something, you know. Right, now in Thomas Cart's A General History of England of 1747, so we're getting nearer to that sort of 1700s rewrite, which really kicked in the 1850s. This way you have to go to old books. He not only quotes the passage in full, but ascribes it to, drumroll, Himerius, not Strabo. So when started people putting Strabo as the source, we don't know. Himerius lived approximately 315 to 386 BC or AD. It doesn't say. You can look him up anyway. So I'll do something else on this one. And he's apparently quoted by Photius. So we're going way back BC. I think it must be BC. So Strabo had his most famous... Sorry, as Marcel puts it, so Strabo had this famous reference credited to him wrongly all the time. We should be quoting Himerius. My brains are fried and I can't think of the right word. So here we go. Here's some of the bits. Okay, you might want to pause and read it later or something. I don't know how far into the show we are. You have to find it. We're about 50 minutes in if he's going to come back to it. So there we are. So I won't read the whole thing. But Strabo, you see Strabo's mentioned here again. If you go to the top line, with the mouse floating around if I can. See, everyone's referencing Strabo. So I'll just read this because it's wonderful prose. He came to Athens not clad in skins like a Scythian, but with a bow in his hand, a quiver hanging on his shoulders, a plaid wrapped about his body, a gilded belt encircling his loins, and trousers reaching from the waist down to the soles of his feet. Thus it is that, here we go, Himerius describes his dress, which sufficiently shows his country, it being to this day in all respects, except as to the weapons in which the invention of gunpowder hath altered the fashion, the very habit of the Highlanders of Scotland. I don't know why you speak Scotland over the rest of Britain. I think it's to do with the word albine being near Albers, perhaps. Anyway, he was easy in his address. You get used to these F's actually being S's. Sorry. He was easy in his address, agreeable in his conversation, active in the dispatch and secret in the management of great affairs, quick in judging of present occurrences, and ready to take his party in any sudden emergency. provident withal in guarding against security, diligent in the quest of wisdom, fond of friendship, trusting very little to fortune, yet having the entire confidence of others, and trusted with everything for his prudence. Isn't it great? What is still more amazing and shows a wonderful genius, for otherwise it is not to be conceived how a stranger should, in the short time of his travels before he came to Athens, make himself so great a matter of the most improved language upon earth, as to speak it with facility and elegance, is that when he opened his lips, persuasion dwelt upon his tongue, and the same author assures us, this is the other part of the quote which has been given to Strabo all these years, he spake Greek with a fluency that you would have thought he had been bred up in the Lyceum, a famous college university place in Greece, and had conversed all his life with the Academy of Athens. Such was Abaris. So I think Abaris is the particular person, that sounds like.
Why have they replaced all the S's with F's?
I think it's to do with the way they. I've heard different stories why they did this. Does someone in the comments? Why they? Good question from Arnie there. Why have they got F's? Why have they replaced the S's with F's? One thing I heard was they use a lot of F. They hardly use many F's, and they use lots of S's in the boxes of metal things. But I don't know. That doesn't sound very convincing to me. I'd like to know the answer to that. Good question, Arnie. Thank you. Such as our Highlander, such our Druid, can courts form a finer gentleman, can Greece or Rome boast of producing a man all respects more extraordinary. See, it's an important quote because what it's showing is that the people in Britain, hundreds of years before the Romans turned up, were well dressed, they were well educated, they were civilized, they could speak Greek, they could discuss, they could argue, they had good equipment, all this kind of thing. So you can read the rest yourself. For the rest of the Druids, blah blah blah. So I want to just say the last bit, just come through to here. It is reasonable, however, to conclude from the very nature of the thing that a body of such men under such an institution, continually employed in the search of knowledge, the constant subject of their reflections, discourses, and instructions, and communicating their discoveries from age to age, without any interruption to their successors, must have been great. They are describing a great civilization. Tragic, isn't it? This is how Britain was and British history was. And there's loads of evidence, and we got buried buildings like that crazy situation in Caermead, where the palace is there and they filled in the archaeological dig. Work that one out, because the next one in is Caermelin, like I say, the Camelot one. This is what I'm saying, we have to go to the other end of the field, where there are actually ruins of the castle and outlines of the towers and stuff, apparently. So obviously we have to go back there and film that and record it for posterity and let more people know about it. Because the abuse I've had of certain quarters during this last week, and it doesn't bother me, by the way. I mean, it's just, it's just lack of an argument when you have to be personal and nasty, I find. And fear. I don't know why they're afraid. And what's most disturbing to me is that the most aggressive and vigorous attackers of us finding this knowledge are Welsh people. The attacks, yes, some attacks from English, but not very often. And people overseas are fascinated generally. America, Canada, New Zealand, Australia particularly. Loads of people very interested in finding out more about this. And of all the world, the people in Wales are like, cannot get my head around it. You might, I don't know, you might have a problem with this, you might see whatever your argument is, prefer not to go with it, but it's not like that. It's much nastier and aggressive and personal and not like an educated or civilized discourse. And then you get the usual thing of, well, what qualifications have you got? And it's like, well, I could have English qualifications, history qualifications if I wanted to. I was never very impressed with the way English went. I've got the knowledge. I might have to do an exam just to prove a point, perhaps, but it seems pointless. It's a strange insistence. You see a lot of Welsh nationalists. We forget independence. We want to push our own Welsh history, but the only people who should do this are those, the professors or people qualified in the existing narrative, which was designed to write out the old British and Welsh history. Same with Scotland, same with Ireland. It's bizarre. Not quite as strongly in Scotland as Ireland, because there's not the same threat. The difference, if you are new to this, wondering why all this has happened, is a load of reasons. One reason in particular is there's a royal family in Wales which predates the Germanic royal family sitting on the throne by, well, how far back do you want to take the Saxe-Coburg-Goethers? You got the Hanoverians, 1707, 1714, sorry, when they finally ascended, as opposed to these going back to at least 500 BC. You can see the problem. There's another royal family walking around there over 2,000 years predating you, and they've got genealogies and heritages, and if you look at the other stories we're doing, ties in with, they literally got holy blood. They married into Jesus' family. You can see why the church ain't very happy either. So there you go. So well done, Marshall. That's just tremendous. So I think I look forward to feedback on this one. Can you look through the comments there? So we got some in there. Is that the same time as the Great Vowel Reset? I don't know. I've heard of this Great Vowel Reset, and I don't know enough about it. It's one I'd like to look into. All right, let's hit in a couple of things here. Neil, the Welsh... Oh, this has scrolled off the screen. But I think he said that the Bible's written in some sort of... Oh, there they are. The Christian Hebrew Bible's written in Welsh Gaelic. Yeah, I would totally agree with that. Paleo-Hebrew, I would say the original Hebrew was Welsh or Gaelic. Yeah, I don't know much about Gaelic. I think they're similar. I know it definitely fits with Cymraeg, Welsh. And I would go as far as to say that because Hebrew was what's called a resurrected language, it wasn't spoken by anybody when it was reintroduced to Israel. The Europeans spoke Yiddish and various other languages, and they needed a national Hebrew language. So, hey, more hot water, as if you haven't upset everybody already, eh? What's next on here? The Other World, Wilson and Blackett, unpublished. I was going to do an all bells and whistles fancy presentation, but it's been incredibly busy week. So I think what we're going to do now, have a little bit of listen time, and I was going to put some pretty... Any requests? I could put some pretty... I'm running out of time actually, but some nice scenery or something in the background. Yeah. I'm going to do that. So I know I'm going to show you. Obviously, I had a cameraman in the car with me as I drove down the A470. Because it'd be impossible otherwise, wouldn't it? To have all this footage of the A470 coming south. If it's only me in the car. Gosh. No, I think there's a way of doing this. Hang on a second. This would be cool. Open. Is he going to run into one thing? Tim, watch out for your volume. Lift your ears. There you go. And I'll turn the volume down on this so you can listen to me. You get a little slight bit of ambient noise. If you don't know Wales, there we are. It's coming down the A470. Not quite at the bit which Zoe Spencer's been putting up as possible pyramids, and I like that idea. I think it is possible. Anyway, it's coming on A470, somewhere in mid-Wales, okay? Oop, you can see the sign if you click. That'll be very quick. Right, what I'm going to read... I haven't got time to read all this in detail, have I? Do you want to hear some Wilson and Blackett, or should I just summarise it? Oh, it's so good. I'm just going to get all this out. Anyway, what we're going to do is the concept of the other world, and again, I know this will upset some people react to it. The point of there's two papers here. I'll do this on other videos too. Anyway, the point is the other world has become sort of... Oh, hang on. Put this up and no one can blast and see it. I'm so stupid. People wonder what I'm on about. He's supposed to be watching the comments and stuff here. He's looking like playing on his phone. Look, there we are. Yeah, but I was talking about a video. No one can see it now.
That's not the comments.
That's not the comments. Okay, here we are. I see. You can't win arguments with 12-year-olds. Right. I'll read a little bit. Right. History can either be truthfully and faithfully remembered, recorded and repeated for the benefit of future generations, or alternatively history can be fabricated, forged and invented to support secular political agendas and religious political ambitions. Ancient, or what is loosely called British Dark Age history, is currently presented to the world of mass fabrications, distortions and plain old forgeries. Such is the propaganda of successive London government regimes down the past 2 centuries, that researching the authentic records, proving their accuracy and revealing a glorious and quite extraordinary past is almost impossible. Few people are sufficiently mentally free so they can recognise that Oxford, Cambridge, and indeed London are whited sepulchres in the matter of old British history, clean and neat on the outside with a mass of heaving corruption on the inside. Hardly anyone knows in Britain of their own ancestral record of a great sea migration from ancient Syria to Britain some 3,600 years ago. Not many more have heard of the great seaborne migration in another fleet from Trojan western Turkey around 504 BC, some 2,500 years ago. So it is hardly surprising that few have read the history written by the Archbishop of Canterbury in 1625, again before this 1700 reset, which states that King Arthur knew about America and a Welsh prince found it. He was, of course, referring to the Arthurian voyages in the time of Arthur II at Meirig ap Tudor, made by the Prince Marek in AD 562, by the Admiral Gwenon in 573, and by Arthur's second Madoc and their brother-in-law Amunddin in 574. The disaster of the political holocaust of around 1850, which saw Bishop Stubbs as Professor of History at Oxford University, destroying virtually all genuine British history and replacing it with an absurd, romantic Anglo-Saxonism, still overshadows and conceals the true records. Copious records of the other world exist, and a fabrication has developed to openly conceal them. It is now falsely alleged, despite mountainous proof to the contrary, that the ancient British Cymry, the Welsh, this to unconfuse people, that the Welsh are now portrayed as Celts and Celtic. Yeah, we can just freeze it there, be okay? Thanks.
No, about the S's and F's.
Oh, right, yes.
Apparently, it's not. It is slightly different to the F's because the line doesn't go all the way through, and it's a long S, and that's just how they used to write it.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
And it took up less space in books because it's a lot.
It takes less space. I knew something to do with the economy. Anyway, where was I? Sorry. It is now falsely alleged, despite mountainous proof to the contrary, that the ancient British Cymry, the Welsh, were Celts and Celtic. This is nonsense about being Celtic, okay? It's absolutely untrue. It is then alleged that these Celts believed in this life, earth, and they also believed in an afterlife, heaven, and a third dimension of a fairyland called the otherworld. This is where it gets difficult, I know, for some people to hear this, because there's a whole... A cult's got such nasty connotations, I don't mean it like that. A massive popular following, then, for the idea of the otherworld and the Celtic otherworld. Whereas it's not Celtic, and then it's not another world full of fairies and stuff. And Wilson's a bit more blunt about it. This comical absurdity, which is totally contrary to the extant evidence, alleging a three-dimensional Celtic belief system of earth, heaven, and a dream-like otherworld, has actually been widely believed. With terrifying simplicity, the propaganda machine of a modern, organised, industrial, developed state has, by control of the education system, utterly obliterated the best and most detailed record and the most thoroughly provable historical record in all Western Europe. The transatlantic voyages to America, which the British called the otherworld, have been reduced to fable, and America has become a dreamlike fairyland instead of reality. There are less than 3 million Cymry, Welsh, and over 47 million English, and any truth which might destabilise the House of Cards history fabricated by Bishop Stubbs and others is unwelcome and not tolerated. As survivors in their own lands from 3,600 years ago, and from the Brutus arrival of 2,500 years ago, the Cymry hold the keys to the past in their records. But these derided British truths do not support the fables of Anglo-Saxonism as invented by Bishop Stubbs and his adherents. Stories of origin in Mabinogi style are subtly changed to Mabinogion, meaning children's tales. All manner of records of voyages and discoveries are very simply obliterated by calling them mystical. Whilst clear signs exist as how to read the records, no one dares to do so. All university employees know that the most certain way to wreck a career in the cosy confines of the colleges is to dare to say or write anything which is different to the politically correct ruling dogmas. Cymric Welsh children were taught English history, and the invented kind at that. Their own native history is the genie in the bottle, which can never be persuaded to go back in once out. Careless, ill-educated, ill-English academics write of treacherous Welsh manuscripts, without knowing anything at all about the subject. This, therefore, is the background against which this important research has been carried out. The only interest and objective of this book is to discover what is truth and what is false. Isn't that wonderful? Absolutely wonderful. And there's a whole, we're going to have to do another book about the American migrations there. But what we've also got is, I can't tease you like that and I'll give you a bit more, can I? Oh, look at this, brilliant. Loads of comments are flying up. There's a whole conversation going on here. Yeah, Otherworld, Avalon, Atlantis, third, fourth, fifth dimensions. Well, maybe, but there's the other world referred to in the Welsh records is America, which they went to in 562, and from my conversations with Lee Pennington, probably earlier, well, Alan Wilson's mentioned it as well, in 400 AD, maybe 200 AD, they travelled, and that's the other world they're referring to here. And this other world has been twisted into being some sort of extra dimension or fairyland or something. So, what it does go through them, which I'll try and do in more detail, is talk about all the records then and proofs to show. I got to read some of this, haven't I? I'll just do a little bit, okay? There can be no doubt. What time is it now? Let's keep going. There can be no doubt that in the long. This is the other world, the aftermath. There can be no doubt that in the long, epic, poetical dialogue between King Arthur II ap Meirig and his nephew Llywelyn ap Madoc ap Meirig, that Llywelyn is a coloured man. The words imply coloured, i.e. brown-skinned and not black. As Madoc is very clearly recorded as spending 10 years in America, it is not unreasonable to expect that he took a wife. Arthur too was succeeded by two kings who were brothers, Morgan Moynfawr and Ithael. As Morgan can be destructed from Mor, M-O-R, which means the sea. The sea, and Gan is obtained or begotten. The strong possibility emerges that Morgan was a half Native American. So all you Morgans out there, like Bob and all that, imagine that. Your name could be because you're half Native American. Ithael is a name of the ancient mythical King Solomon of Judea and Israel. The major British kings after Arthur are not usually named, and the practice of indicating them by title, okay, not name, is almost universal. We get Cadvan, which means prominent in battle, or perhaps many battles. Cad is battle. Who fits triads mentions of Morgan Moynfawr. Then comes Caswallon, or Caswallon, a fearsome, bloodthirsty king whose life story exactly matches the story of Gwaednerth, son of Morgan, in some detail. Caswallon is a title, meaning a viceroy, usually one who leads his father's armies or rules a part of the country. Then comes Cadwallader, which again is not a name, and simply means the battle sovereign. As Cadwallader appears to match Ithael, son of Morgan, there appears to be sense emerging. The other amazing thing as well I would add here, plug my own book with it, Cymroglyphics, which obviously based on Wilson and Blackett's works, is sort of mine, is that if you look at the old hieroglyphs, these titles, you can see them. I know, it's great, isn't it? So some of the old Egyptian names and pharaohs where people struggle to work out their names, not only can you translate the meaning of the names using Welsh, you can see how they are pronounced. I'll tell you a lot of them which are called Ramses. They ain't called Ramses, okay? But names like this. Rascan Wedig is a sort of a war leader. That's one you can read in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. My guess is Cadwal did be there as well. So common practice has been to regard these titles as names and to simply allocate these kings ruling up until AD 684 to Gwynedd in northwest Wales. See what happened? You see that the ruling family in southeast Wales just gone. Nothing happened. Nothing happened in southeast Wales with a big population and the minerals and the mines and all this kind of stuff. No, everything happened in Gwynedd. And because they're titles rather than names, it's easy to shift them. So yet the Gwynedd princes of that area are well known and well named clearly. So there's no space for these additional kings in Gwynedd. Morgan killed his uncle Freoch, regent, to get the throne. Just to fill in a bit here, Freoch was brother of Arthur, who seems to have taken the throne after Arthur's death, and then Morgan, as soon as he's old enough, killed Freoch. Like most royal families, they're quite happy to butcher each other. And the notion of a half British and half Native American British sovereign is intriguing. As late as AD 700, the English brutes record British kings ruling in Leicester area, in the central areas of what is now Britain, England. The grave of Caswallon is almost certainly identifiable in Herefordshire, in what was in the 6th and 7th centuries Cymric Welsh territory. The corpse is traditionally said to be in a golden shirt. Wow. To back up all this, there is actually a clear record of a large fleet bringing the army home across an ocean. This fleet makes landfall at an island off the far west coast of Ireland. Off the west coast of Ireland. This island has come up somewhere else. The Bard Taliesin writes that the decision was taken to abandon America or the other world and to leave it for later generations. The story is still evolving. Scholars, we use the term loosely, ridiculed the old cathedral grant of a church by Morgan in southwest Glamorgan. There was no ruined church, but then in the late 1980s, a farmer removed a thick ancient hedge to make two fields into one. Out from under the ancient bushes and trees emerged Morgan's 6th century church. So it is there. Several ancient stones are found, and the farmer decided to turn over a large flat stone that he had used to stand upon to draw water from his stream for his pigs. And the buried site revealed a 6th century carved monument. Of course, the academics immediately changed sides and now wanted the stones for the museum. The farmer, suitably angered by their previous dismissive, know-it-all attitude, refused and placed the stones in a rock garden outside his house. Museums pay vast sums for paintings by foreign artists, but then expect immensely more valuable national treasures like these stones to be handed over to them for nothing. Perhaps if there was a Welsh staff at the National Museum of Wales, things might just change for the better. So there you go. There's a little story for the week. And what I'm going to try and do from now on is pick out a short story, if you like, an excerpt, one a week. And that will, I love reading it. People send me other books to read, and this is why I don't get a chance to read them. I've got so much of this stuff I want to read. It's difficult to get through the other things, although I do as well. I read a lot, and I read very fast because I have to, okay? It's one of the techniques you learn. If you read every day, you get quicker at it, same as anything else. So I hope you enjoyed that. We are coming towards the end of the show. Rather sad. Because, I don't know, I hope everyone else enjoys it as much as I do. I'm just talking to myself, so I think people are... a lot of people send me lots of messages saying it's the highlight of the week and they hate it when it gets to an end, and so thank you very much. It's wonderful, the support. It really is wonderful. I mean, I can't say it enough. If we did not have this group, and we did not have things like these live shows and the Facebook group and all the messages coming in, this would be... I don't want to use the wrong words here because I'm not looking for any sympathy, because none is wanted and none is seeked, but it would be really quite miserable on occasion. And you know, I have to feel for Wilson and Blackett, who didn't have this kind of... they had a different approach. They had friends, they had helpers, lots of helpers, but they were kind of scattered, and there wasn't the same sort of constant dialogue that we have. They're under more pressure than I am. They're getting more stick than I get. And I had a different attitude towards it. I don't know. I don't know, just different, right? But it's different people. And it's been tough. So, that does remind me. Thank you for all those who sent messages and cards to Alan Wilson. A lot went via me. I should show you, actually. I should print it off again. So I copied and pasted all the messages, all the pictures, all the stuff. And the envelope was like this thick. It was just stuffed. A4 pages, folded in half. a dozen pages easily. It was brilliant. Letters and all that. They're really excited, really pleased. So thank you, and all the cards that were sent to directly to them. Their address does appear in the back of some books. I don't actually give it out, but if you have all the books, you will find their address. And people sent cards, and they're like, what's happening? It's like this deluge of cards and letters and messages. It's needed, all right? It's tough sometimes on the front line, because I'm sure you've all been attacked by people and got into these dreadful arguments, and we have to stick together and help each other out, okay? So I've wandered off a little bit there. Oh, yes, I was going to say, I'm going to check my notes for once this week. Look at that, long notes, look at that lot. Wow, look at that. I've written almost three lines of notes. Oh yeah, the patron reward. Thank you very much, because do need some money to keep this thing going, because it's a full-time job. And one of the things, there's really beautiful graphics. Yeah, I've really gone over the top on the special effects with this one. And I thought one of the nice things to do as a thank you, it's only £3 a month. Some people give more. It really makes all the difference in the world. And as you know, all the revenue from the books, or maybe you don't know, all the revenue from everything we sell is shared with Wilson and Blackett to help them in their old age and buy them stuff. Through the donations and purchase of Britain's Hidden History, to give some idea, we bought them 2 new computers, which Gerard helped, new mobile phones, which they've never used. Can't get them to use the computer and the internet, but we're going to keep trying, okay? They had legal fees. They had some unpleasant person chasing them on a legal front. I got solicitors, seen them off, dealt with all that. That's all been paid for. One less thing for them to worry about, and for me to worry about, to be honest. All the books paid for, out of our funds, paid for most of the print run for St. Patrick Identified, because that's not published by me. I don't get any money out of these. Barham did all this. I bought a load up front at a slight discount before they were printed, so we make a bit of a markup. I'm not saying I don't do it completely for nothing, but put it this way, a lot more to get the money back, alright? A lot more. So the help is required. And I thought it would be a nice thing. Every week I try. They're not works of art, but these PowerPoint presentations I will be sending out to Patreon supporters, or making them available as a download if they'd like one, as a little thank you from me. So just go to Patreon if you want to become a supporter and search Britain's Hidden History or Ross Broadstock, it'll come up. Alright, so that's a little bonus there. I'm trying to think of more little gifts and things, because it's a tricky one, because it's so I know a lot of channels and everything, they put up stuff just for Patreon supporters, which is great. But the whole point of Britain's Hidden History is to get the information out there. So I don't want to censor anything or make it only available for certain people. No, I want everyone to know this stuff. So everything's on the shows, everything gets discussed, and please keep making the channels. Make your own channels, send stuff through. We're going to grow. We're going to win, because it's growing fast. So there we are. Friday night, and I have Andrew telling me off, saying it's Seren's bedtime. School tomorrow morning. It's Arnie's as well. David Falk. I remember David Falk. Wasn't he? What's his name? Not Clouseau. One last thing, lady. What was his name? I loved him in the scruffy coat. I forgot his name. Patrick Falk, that wasn't it? Anyway, David Falk, a well-renowned Egyptologist and archaeologist, has claimed that the sea people were Philistines. He has a YouTube channel called Ancient Egypt and the Bible. Should go check it. I would do. A couple of people asked me about where do I get information about the Egyptian dynasties and stuff. Moses in the hieroglyphs. It's available on the website, and you will see in there exactly who the sea people are. So I might try and watch the video. Alan Wilson is, and please, more questions during these live shows, all right? I'll do my best to answer. If I can't, I'll look it up and answer next week. The sea people, though, is one of these myths. There's no such thing as sea people. What's happened is, if you look at Trojan War dating 650 BC, in the conventional world, the same tricks are being pulled hundreds of years ago. There's a big row, right back, sort of 1st, 2nd century BC, where the Lyceum, good old Lyceum again, was trying to make Greek history go back further, make them into the sort of parent country of Mediterranean, or the West, whatever you want to call it. So they had to stick on about 600 years onto their history. So they moved the Trojan War back from 650 all the way back to, well, depending on what records you read, 1200, 1300, 1400, 1500, It was like a bidding game. They kept shoving it further and further back. Big fuss. There's, the senior Roman families and Greek families. Hey, my great-grandfather, he was there, he fought in it. It's only a couple hundred years ago. You can't be doing this. And I've got his armour hanging up on the wall. But still it happened, so you created this dark ages where nothing happened at all. No pottery, no buildings, nothing.
Are we supposed to be seeing the screen?
Oh, no, it's right. The Greeks were supposedly had writing in 1250 BC, but didn't write anything for 600 years till Homer, Mesigenes, came along and started writing about the Trojan War, which would have been something that happened about then. So the sea people, Wilson and Blackett explain in brilliant style, were the allies that the Egyptians called in to fight one of their wars. I think it was against the Sudanese. It's a while since I read Moses and the hieroglyphs. I think they were Persian. Stick my neck out slightly there, so don't go out and have an argument in a pub over that one. And one of the things you see is by the uniforms and everything, it matches exactly the uniforms you see back in Assyrians, predating the Persians by a long way. See, Assyrians, their uniforms and the appearance, the armour, the things on the helmets, all that kind of stuff, what's been called sea people. And then it was, that's Wilson Blackett, you've got to read that book. They explain then how there's a fallout, and they became enemies, and you see them fighting on the other side. And one of the crucial, how well Wilson knows everything in the world, I do not know, is you'll see the beards on the first lot and the beards not on the second lot. The reason was, and you can find the original orders issued to the troops, I think they were Persians actually, they found in hand-to-hand combat, the enemy was grabbing the beards and pulling their heads down and stabbing them. So they made it compulsory for all men to have their beards shaved, as you see in the picture. Only the officers could have beards. And you also see the fish scale armour depicted on the walls in Egypt, the same as the ones in Persia. So there's no real mystery about them. You can see exactly who they were. But anyway, that's a good one anyway. Phoenicians, well, let's not go into Phoenicians. That's another huge subject. Anyway, Arnie, you going to play us out?
Yeah,
Or shall I just sing us out? Right, tell you what, first 5 comments. You can either have me singing Welcome in the Hillside, and I'm nice and clear this week. Nose is clear, singing great, be fantastic.
Go on, sing.
Or Arnie playing some rubbish on his violin. What are you going to play on?
I want to hear you sing, because, it'll be memes for you.
First 5 comments on. It's going to be whoever gets the most votes. Or you could argue the least votes. If you don't want to play, it'll be the least votes.
No,
So
so
you're going to force Arnie to play, or force people to listen to me singing?
And Arnie so far.
What have we got so far? Arnie. All right. Just look at the constellation. Oh, people are... Arnie, please. Come on.
Go for it.
Ross, 2-1. 2-1. All right, 2-1. First of 3. I need 2 comments. I need 1 comment. Arnie, Ross. Oh, I got some votes anyway.
I got...
Thanks, Kay. Thanks, dude. All right, we're going.
got
Arnie, for God's sake. Go on in, you. I'm getting a few votes there. We should do one. That's all. Next week, I'll sing along, all right? I was going to do a pod. I was going to do the... was it the Bells of... what's it called? That's the one, yeah. I could play it on the guitar and sing it.
If you want to sing it now, I can play on the
Well, we'll get... It's all right, Arnie. You can fire away, and I'll get...
I don't know what to play, though.
What else did you do? I just did his... Arnie's having a week off, you see. He's not supposed to be playing. That's why he's reluctant, because he did his grade 5s this week. Are you going to play one of those? What's the other one you did? No, play the Tchaikovsky thing. No? Alright, just play some jolly song. Men of Harlech. Come on, it's a Men of Harlech. It's a jolly one. Yeah, I don't want to play a sad song. Oh, lift up your dreaming, see them with their spear points gleaming. Welshman to the foe. Right, anyway, good night everybody, no start. This is the end of the show, okay? So I'd say good night and Heduk and all that kind of thing. And what I should try and do is One man of Harlech. I'm sending you the words of this. I have to learn them. Those A470 videos weren't as good as I thought. Oh, hang on. Oh, Xavier's come to say good night as well. Oh, nice fancy finish there. Fandangle finish. I was going
Thank
to
you, thank you.
I was going to put some silent videos on with music or something. No, too late. Yeah, go on, just play that on. I'll try and find something to play. Oh, the boys going to say this. Xavi did his first music exam as well, and Leon's late. Yeah, just.
Whilst he's still looking for some music.
I'm trying to concentrate here. Oh no! Please don't, boys. Hang on, hang on. Yeah, I'm going to try and put something up to fill the screen a bit.
Wild now, isn't it? So let's have an explore, see if we can find it. There's a wall up there. I don't think that's it though.
This is going to confuse you. I don't think anyone's going to guess where this is. Oh, I know what this is.
Take some shots down the hill in a second.
When we went up to Penrith on the trail, the old
If we can just get to it.
what do they call it? We're
There we go.
we go too fast.
Get something
Showing off, I go too fast.
Taft's Well, I guess. That would be good.
What do they call it when you have to make a pilgrimage?
Valley, good night to Cardiff. Castle Court.
And when we were up by Tuna Glow,
Of course I can't. Oh, it's just hidden by the trees.
we I sent the boys off to try and find a mound, alright? And I said that'll keep them busy for a while.
Probably up this path. What?
This is
Oh,
near
that's
Tuna
what
Glow.
it is.
Yeah, that was a long time ago on there, so this will keep them busy for a while.
Oh,
Like,
what
You're gonna
do?
find
well, Angie and
these.
I have a nice quiet picnic and eat some sandwiches and that kind of thing. And then they went up, and
Very
then
right,
right,
Johnson,
right
Bond
within about 10
Bond
minutes,
movie.
they'd found all these stones,
It's not
an
there
ancient
anymore.
stone stepway, and there you go. All right, so I was gonna do is just put these on silent. Well, I am actually commenting on here, haven't I? This is like years ago. This is. But have a look around there. You can have a look through those hills and everything, and I'll put some music on. Everyone say good night. See you next week. Yes, see you next week, and I'll there'll be a lot of videos going up during the week. All right, I've got in particular. The long discussions with Lee Penton already booked in. Great one about America and stuff, and there's just so much to go up. So hang on a second. I got to do the. I don't make myself disappear. I can't really, can I? I'm gonna have to put something over the camera. Anyway, I don't do my head hooking because you want me to see what's going on there. I'll do head hooking anyway. No star. See you next week. Head hook. No, I didn't work. I want to see what's on the screen. We're stuck.
Just unplug the...
Just unplug the camera. That's going to be a bit weird, isn't it? Whoop. There you go. Well, I'll try and make this full screen. Oh, never mind. We'll just go as we are. I think we'll be fine. Because if I change screen, it'll come up on the screen here, so I can't win, really. Yeah, Penrith, Tyler's Downway. That's it, up towards Penrith. That's the great pilgrimage. So I don't know how long this goes on for. There's quite a few videos there. And you might see me up in Penrith and get to the church at the end of the pilgrimage. Here we are. Oh, I can put some music on. A bit of...
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, yeah, good night, boys. Up you go. Come on, I'll be up in a second. Go on.
No.
The problem is now you're going to see me going through all my folders. Oh well, never mind. Not the best thing to watch. Arthur, where are you? Hey, no, that's the arc thing. Oh, I give up. Alright, sorry folks. I'll let that running. And I shall, yeah, put the boys to bed. See you next week. I'll unplug now. North Star, sorry it's silent. You can put your own music on. That's always an idea, isn't it? Heddwch.
And there's some sort of mound.
Look.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's been right on the path, is it? And there's some stones here, look, as well. A trek up into the forest. I'm not very good at telling if these things have been put there or they're meant to be there. Right. I see, I mean, it's just starting to grow over this time of year, isn't it, May? Proper woodland, isn't it?
Working, but just to say, this is right next
There's a rock
to the
face up
glow
there.
inevitable, alright? So, I'll leave it
Before we
running.
talk, I'm
I
gonna
hope I
go
don't
that
say
far,
anything
have we?
embarrassing, because this was done a couple of years ago and I never edited it, so
No, he said it was about,
have fun, and I won't be seeing it. I'll be upstairs, so bye.
He said it's about 8 foot up.
Oh, I'd drag him out.
So, yeah.
I'm sure I'll come back to him once he's out here. Give you an idea of scale. This is strange. Does that look like something that's been built? I mean, it looks like rocks on top.
See if you can recognise this
gaps and
Taran
things, isn't
Doysant,
It's
in
funny,
case you
actually,
was
start
wondering.
looking at-
There's a couple of videos
Yeah,
mixed up
I'm
here, so
start
good
seeing
luck.
things that aren't there.
What's that?
Start seeing sort of shapes. And
Yeah, I don't claim to be a geologist or have any idea about these things. You could imagine that as a wall, couldn't you? There does seem to be
Yes.
rocks plonked on top of each other. If you're coming closer here, you can see the joins where this tree is, for example. So difficult to tell, isn't it? Yeah, unless you... If you look up into the hill. Yeah, I'd bring my boys with me. That's what we do, set the boys loose. Come climbing up there. They'll love it. You need foot soldiers, you know? Too many armchair generals. It's pretty steep. Let's give an idea where we are. The view's starting to open out a bit. And people don't realise how close to the sea this is. It's not very far at all. Cardiff's down that valley. How much you're going to be able to see. There we are, hope it's of interest. Give you an idea how steep it is. You see the drop down there. I was wondering how this path is so well... I wonder how all this is. It's a very well built path, isn't it?
Mm.
Like I say, it's the back end of the mountain, isn't it? It's not going anywhere. God, it's so difficult, isn't it?
but it does look like a sort of old drover's road, doesn't it? Or maybe better than that.
I wonder why an old Grover would be up here, though. You just follow the river down, wouldn't you? Why would you want to come up here? You know, this is probably the worst possible route to get down to anywhere, really. Try and find out all this path is as well.
It's just quite a substantial track, isn't it?
Yeah, it's almost like it's a road, really, by old standards, isn't it? Road to nowhere. Seems a lot of effort for like one farm or something, and even he could go the other way. Yeah, this is more the kind of thing, isn't it?
That's almost like a shrine type area off to one side, isn't it?
Yep. Let's try and climb up on the top of that, shall we? Let's come around the side, I think. To me, that looks more like a wall than a cliff. What were you saying now?
I heard it described on one of Alan's old videos that it was sort of partway between a rock carving and a shrine, and it's about 8 foot up on the north side of a valley, between north-facing valley that never saw sunlight, between Gwaelod and Penturk.
Well, it ticks all those boxes, isn't it?
And
And rub away some moss and have a look, shall we? Oh. Yeah, take some pictures and have a close-up.
there's not much
There's a-
space between them, so it looks almost
Well, if you laid it or it fractured, you get the same sort of thing, though, wouldn't you? I mean, is that a fissure that's come.
Yeah, that's natural.
I think it's all natural, yeah. Amazing, isn't it? It looks like a wall's been built, but there's got some archaeologists. Yeah, that's just the shape the moss is making there. Alright, just have a closer look. I think there's another one further up.
The right direction, yeah? Although on the one hand you got... You're in the shade, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah,
So
see,
your side-
it's more or
your
less
side of the-
north facing, it's not quite north facing, but it's kind of a north-northwest, I would call it. You can't always pick your ordnance exactly right, can you? You're stuck with what you got a bit. So you're supposed to climb up something, I wonder. I think it's just fields up there, aren't there, at the top?
Down here.
Down here, yes.
There's a farmhouse down there. Right, but somewhat along... I think it's around about this field here. If you look on the map, you've got... I look on the old... What's it map? And it's marked Mine Millweir.
Mine Millweir.
Stones of the Soldiers. So you've got...
Stones of the
soldiers'
soldiers. Okay.
graves down there. After... probably after some major battle.
And there's a lot of stuff around Taft's Well, isn't there?
Well,
A lot of historical interest around there.
the other thing is, I was looking at the name in that dictionary, Guala de Garth, the other day,
Oh yeah, Gwaelod, yes.
and Garth has a very close meaning to Garth. What was it? It was. I forget the word. I'll look it up again and check. But it could be another meaning to Garth.
Okay.
Because Garth just means mountain, doesn't it?
Yeah, well,
But there could be another meaning to it.
interesting little path. That's getting us up onto the fields at the top, I think, isn't it? Well, the path doubles back where we were.
But there are some more stones up here.
Oh, right, okay. Let's keep pushing up the hill.
That goes out now. You follow that.
Back up to the field, isn't it?
Just open countryside for a bit. You're level with the field. There's no area where you're going to have any stones up there, all the way up.
So all the sort of meanings of Garth, can you remember? Or
Hey?
can you remember any of the meanings of Garth that you came
No,
across?
is it in the book? It's in the new book.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, the old new book. The new old
Yeah,
book.
yeah. The new book of 1688.
Yeah.
That new.
Right, so further down here, you get into some stone slabs. I don't think it's this far up because it would have said 50 yards, 100 yards. That would be it. It wouldn't be quarter of a mile, half an hour.
Well, we're not really in Gwaelod anymore, are we?
No.
Wouldn't call it Gwaelod anymore. It's more like above Taft's Well or something. They look like possible slabs as well, don't they? They do look like possible slabs again, don't they? And the barbed wire fence is always encouraging. I'm always encouraged when I see a barbed wire fence. Usually means something good to see. 22 Osprey, so I'm learning.
The most dangerous thing I've ever done.
All right. Some ideas of the hills from the Welsh countryside, if you're not familiar with it. A lot of these steep hills and mounds. Seems to be the hill forts guarding the Taff into Cardiff. So my Castle Cork is there, not the original castle of course. But it's always been a strategic point. There's lots of little paths to follow down. There's paths down there. Everything's heavily wooded, it's not easy. More stones again here, look. we need to get some more clues, don't we?